Welcome back to the Art and Yoga and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Kira Whitaker. So today I'm going to do a little life update, business update with you guys. We did one back at the end of the summer, going into fall. I talked about some things that I was going to be switching up in this new season in my wellness routine, things I was going to try. And so today I'm going to update you guys. I'm going to talk about what I ended up not doing, what didn't work, what is working, and then also talk about some things that you can look forward to or that are coming up within the business of art and yoga and wellness. So check out today's episode and I will see you there. Welcome back to the Art and Yoga and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Kira Whitaker. So this week I'm going to be doing a life update, business update podcast. I'd planned on doing it last week, but as I mentioned in last week's podcast episode, I had a coaching call right before with a client of mine, and I was so inspired and lit up after that coaching call that I went rogue and decided to talk about body image and self-worth tied to goals and weight. And so I did not end up getting to the life update episode because I took a left turn. But today we are going to go over that, and I'm just going to follow up on some things that I talked about. I don't know what month it was, but it was the end of summer, moving into fall. I talked about some wellness things that I was going to be trying. I take a lot of my wellness routine by season. So I don't do 2023, this is what I'm doing. I really chunk up my wellness routine and try to make sure that I kind of honor our schedule and our season, because summer looks very different than fall for me, business-wise, and for my family. Same with winter, looks drastically different than fall does. And so I really like to think of it more in seasons and quarters than year to year. That does not work for me. So because I was winding up summer and coming into the fall season, I did a little, hey, here's what I'm planning. Here's what was working in the summer. Here's what I know will not work in the fall. I'm going to try these things out. So I'm going to update you guys on some of those things. So I ended up, just to kind of give a little replay of where I ended up taking the majority of this summer off for, I say work, air quotes, if you're watching. And the reason for that is I had taken on so many clients in 2023 and the end of 2022 in the business that I was honestly just I think I could see the writing on the wall, which was burnout. And so I really wanted to take a little bit of time off this summer to be with the kids. It was the first summer we've never had a babysitter. I always work through the summer the same way I do the rest of the year. And so the summer was not, I don't want to say we weren't busy, because we were, but it was a different type of busy because I was not in the studio 4 days a week working with yoga clients and then coaching 10 hours a week in addition to that on Zoom. So the summer was great because there was just a lot of flow and there was a lot of flexibility in my schedule, meaning I didn't have to say workouts are every day at this time, or I'm doing this at this certain time, Monday through Thursday, because I have to be at the studio. I just had a lot more flow and a lot more wiggle room. That being said, I knew that was not going to work when the kids went back to school and when I went back to the studio, because I did go back in August 1st and take on some of my previous yoga clients. So one declaration and goal that I had set for myself was I was going to start doing my workouts in the morning. I historically have always done my workouts in the afternoons. The reason I wanted to switch to the mornings is our afternoons have gotten a lot busier as the kids have gotten older. The kids are also at different schools now. And so another thing work-wise is I try not to do this, but if I have to, I have to. If I don't have enough time slots during the day, meaning 8 to 2:30 for health coaching, then I will work clients in the afternoons. I don't do it often, but about 1 to 2 days a week, I will do that, like a 4 o'clock time slot to 5. And so if I'm doing that, then that cuts into my workout time. Historically, I've always done my workouts in the afternoon. One, I'm not a morning person. Our mornings are wild, especially because we have our farm animals, and that is morning feeding time. And that takes a little bit. So mornings are just really packed out. And it just is something that in the past has not been something sustainable for me. The reason I historically have liked afternoon workouts is because I get home at 3:15, 3:30 with the kids. They get their only screen time of the day, a snack, and to kind of wind down before we have to do our evening sports. And that has felt really good for me to go get my workout in. Our gym is at my house, and so I don't have to leave. I can just come over to our barn in my studio here and do that. And then the reason I also have always liked it is because it kind of breaks up the day. What I was fearful of is with our schedules changing, and especially with the kids being at different schools, that it just wasn't going to be something doable or obtainable. There's also some reasons with me getting older. I'll be 37 next week. I'm recording this on the 27th of October. And for the sake of hormones, also my eating schedule, it felt like the mornings would be something that it would set me up to succeed more. If I got it done in the morning, I knew whatever chaos could happen in the afternoons, that I would be able to get that done. Well, here's me reporting in. Guess who is not working out in the mornings? Me. And so here's the reason why. I hate it. I am groggy in the mornings. To get my workout in, I was going to have to get up so much earlier to get my caffeine in. I can work out fasting. I found that because I'm just not a morning person, and I know people are going to say, like, don't declare that over yourself. You can be whoever you want to be. I don't thrive in the mornings, guys. It is me. I am her. It's not happening. And so the other thing about mornings is I thought, well, I'll get up and do this before my family is awake. And then it's going to be my me time. It'll be great. Well, as soon as I step into our kitchen, as soon as I step outside, every single animal on this farm starts yelling and mooing and neighing and going nuts because as soon as they see me, they think it's feeding time. The dog, Dixie, most of you, if you know me, know I love her with my entire heart and soul. She is the best dog. We don't deserve her. As soon as I get up, she gets up. And then she goes upstairs and wakes the kids up because she thinks they need to go to school. So what was happening is if I'm getting up at 5:30 a.m. to sneak off and have this quiet, beautiful workout time, my entire household was getting up, freaking out because they don't know where mom is. It was not working. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going back to working out in the afternoons. If there's a day that I'm working at home, I might do it at 11 o'clock. Get all my meetings in, work out before I eat lunch, then it's finished. But the working out early morning before my family gets up, it was not working. And so something that I want to remind myself and you, all of us, is setting goals is important. Because you have to know where you're aiming, right? Where is the destination I'm trying to get to? If I'm just aimlessly going through actions all day long, it's going to be very hard to figure out what is working, what's not, and what am I even trying to do? So I am all about setting a goal. I'm also a huge fan, personally, and then in my coaching practice with clients, of you want to set small goals that are obtainable, that are doable. That doesn't mean that if you don't get your goal, if you don't succeed in your goal the first time around, that you throw it out the window. We are always going to run into barriers when it comes to our goals. And it's important to be able to zig and zag. It's also important to be able to address those barriers. Okay, this came up. It doesn't mean that I can't do a morning workout. It just means that there's a barrier and I need to kind of finesse this and I need to address these barriers and see how I can work with them and around them. However, if you are consistently failing, I am going to say failing, not succeeding at a goal that you've set for yourself, and it doesn't feel aligned, it is okay to pivot even more. So for me, I had to think about what is the most important thing in this goal for me. For me, the most important thing was to move my body regularly and to make it to where that goal was doable. I like to make a goal sometimes so ridiculously doable that it's hard for me. It's going to be almost impossible for me to not get it done. Okay. With my hydration, with my movement schedule, I'm the most concerned with, am I actually able to do it? Not, is it pretty on paper? Is it going to look good? Is it, definitely what the literature says? The most important thing for me is to move. So I need to make sure that that goal is something that's obtainable. It's achievable, right? The other thing with that goal for me that was important is I like to move alone. And what I mean by that is it is just as important for me to move my body. The movement is very important, but it's also it's a mindset therapy for me. I love working out alone. The kids know if you are not bleeding out and there's not an emergency, you guys don't get to come hang out up here with me. When I'm in my studio at home and I'm doing yoga and I'm working out for 45 minutes, it is not our time to chat. I like to be by myself. It helps me regroup. It helps me recalibrate. It helps me switch gears from business owner and yoga therapist and coach to mom and to the caretaker of this home. And so one reason why the morning was not really helping me accomplish the goal that I wanted and the feeling that I wanted to obtain as I was carrying out that goal is my whole house was waking up. Everybody was like, where is she going? What's happening? It was not providing the alone time and the mental and the mindset component of the workout that I need and I crave. So with that being said, I'm not working out in the mornings. I tried it. I gave it my best effort. I had a plan. I checked all my boxes. It didn't work. And so guess what? It doesn't mean that movement is not for me. It doesn't mean I can't work out because that one time slot didn't work. It means, you know what I thought wasn't working, which is afternoons, and I thought that wasn't going to work. It is working. Is it the best? No. Do I feel rushed sometimes because our afternoons are busy? I do, but I'm doing it. So I'd much rather set the goal that I'm actually able to do than the goal that in my head seemed really pretty and seemed awesome. And I was going to be done by, 7:00 and I'd be showered. My hair would be done every day. No, it's not happening. So I'm not working out in the mornings. That was the biggest, I guess, different or switch in goals from a health standpoint that I was going to try. The other thing that I had talked about this summer quite a bit and then going into the fall was for the past year, so I guess last August, so August 2022, my husband and I kind of, it really, all the stars aligned for this. It wasn't something that we were seeking out. We decided to purchase a mountain house in Monteagle, Tennessee. So it's about an hour away from us in the direction of Chattanooga. And it is finished. So in simultaneously of me running Arden Yoga and Wellness, finishing up a lot of stuff with my national boards with health coaching last year. My husband owns his own business. We decided that we were going to buy this mountain house that was halfway finished. So the previous owners had stopped it was framed up. There was sheetrock, windows were in, the roof was on, but that was it in plumbing. And so we moved walls around, we put floors in, I designed it, we did the exterior, and it is finished, and it is a dream come true. It is so beautiful. We are very, very busy right now with our schedule with our kids, just because they're 10 and 13 and they both do sports. They're both very active with their schools. We are very active with their schools. My husband coaches. I volunteer when I can. We do drop off and pick up every day. And so we are Airbnb-ing it some, just because we don't want it to sit there and not be utilized, and be used. We're only a couple months into that, so I'll have to report back on how that's going. But one great thing about this whole Airbnb experience is one of my best friends, who is my photographer. I also use her beautiful photography studio to see my yoga clients in. So if you ever see any of the really pretty pictures and you're like, what is that backdrop? It is her gorgeous studio. But she's just a savvy businesswoman, and she has multiple Airbnbs, her and her husband, and in Tennessee and in Birmingham. And so she has been helping me manage it because she has a lot more experience in this than I do. And so that has been such a huge support for me. And one lesson I've learned in this is, well, there's been a lot of lessons. I'll start with saying, I think one of the biggest things that I have realized in the past few years is I am really good at certain things, but there are other people in my world that are good at other things. And the most efficient thing for me is to only do the things that I'm really good at and outsource the things that are not my jam. And so where do I have time? Where do I not? And also, where am I not willing to sacrifice my time? Could I learn the ins and outs in the back end of the Airbnb and short-term rental world? Absolutely. I'm a capable girl. But why not allow for my dear friend who already does it, that loves doing it and is so great at doing it? Why not let her do it? Why not us do business together? I already do business with her in other areas. She does all of my photography for Art and Yoga Wellness and has for forever. So I know we work well together. Why not let her utilize her gifts to help me thrive in this new business venture? So that's been a huge thing, is just going, okay, I can do this, but is this the best way for me to spend my time? Or do I need to offload some of it, let somebody else use their gifts, and then I can spend my time pouring into my business that I know only I can do these things? She can help me run this Airbnb. She can help with all that. She cannot health coach for me. She cannot, customize a therapeutic yoga plan for my clients that need me. Only I can do that. So that's where I need to spend my time. So the mountain house is done. It is so beautiful. It was also it was really good for me to stretch myself in other talents. And this is not me doing a flex, because I'm in no way a designer. Let that be known. But me and my husband have a beautiful home that we designed and built, and our offices and our barn. I mean, we really do love doing home projects, not home projects, like we're not Chip and Joanna Gaines, but my husband has an exterior business. It's all he does all day long and has for 20 years. And so he's clearly very good at that and has an eye for it. We also are just really, really, I think we know what we like and we know our style and we're on the same page about it. And so there's only a certain amount of that I can put into my business, because my business is really more about the service. At the end of the day, I mean, the Instagram page is nice, the website's nice, but if I don't know what I'm talking about, who cares if we have a good font and a good filter, And so the mountain house was an area where I really, really got to be so creative and start to finish create this home that I feel like is so beautiful, and it's a reflection of my husband and I, but it's also so different than our farm. We did things completely different. And I got to do it with him, which was really fun. It was just our businesses are completely separate. I help a lot with with the back end of things for his business, but he doesn't help with my business, and which is totally fine. He doesn't even be talking about yoga with y'all. But this was something we got to do together, which was really, really fun. So the mountain house is finished, and it was really, really fun, I think, for both of us in business to be able to take our brains in a completely different area. He learned so much. There were things that are just not in his, I don't want to say scope of practice, but within his business, he just doesn't do, that he had to figure out and he had to learn, which is always good for us. Same thing with me. I had to design bathroom layouts, and I had to design a kitchen, and I got to do all of these things that are so out of my everyday wheelhouse and routine. It was really, really fun. So that was something that we finished up. I think we finished it like turnkey done. We can stay here and bring our family here. I think July, maybe August. Yeah, August. So that has been something that it was so fun, but I'm so glad it's done because it was a full-time job on top of our already full-time jobs. Our kids, I have a teenager now. The kids there's something about our son turning 13 in August shifted something in my heart. As his mother. I'm not going to declare it as mothers because I only know my experience as a mom. But there was something that I think God just imprinted in my heart as a mother. When he turned 13, I felt this urgency to just pursue him. And when I say pursue him, I've talked about this behind the scenes with some of my really good friends. Me and my friend Sonia that was on the podcast, we were talking about parenting before we pressed record, and me and her touched on this slightly because our kids are just our kids are different ages. Her kids are little. My kids are, preteen and teenager. And I just felt this sense of urgency. And I don't mean that in a dramatic way, but honestly, a sense of urgency to pursue him, and also Willow, our daughter. And when I say pursue, I'll give you some examples. He is not in a season where he pursues me because he's a teenager and he doesn't want to hang out with me. He does every once in a while. But I think what I mean by pursue is I am so happy to text him first every morning if I can. And when I say if I can, I don't let him take his phone to school a lot. So he doesn't always have his phone. So sometimes it's not an option. But I hope you have a great day. Please be kind. Drink water. I really, really want to seek him out because we are in a season, we go by seasons in our household, where he's not going to seek me out as much. He's really leaning into his independence and his friends. And I want him to do all of those things. I want him to be doing things that are developmentally and socially appropriate for him in his age. But I also want him to know that my mom is going to come and find me. Meaning if he is tired, I'm going to go upstairs and I'm still tucking you in. I'm still coming upstairs and praying over you every night. That's happening in our household. Even though you're not asking me to, even though I can tell you're not really into it, I want to pursue you. I want to invite him to come down on the couch with me and watch soccer videos if that's what he's into. I've just felt very, very called to pursue him and her because of their age, because they're just not as cuddly with me right now. They're not seeking me out for comfort and attention as much in this season. And so because of that, I decided this fall to not max out my work schedule. When I say max out, I love working so much. I just love it. I've worked since I was 15. I've always been in health and wellness. When I was in college, I was a nurse's aide. I've always been doing something that has been serving and caring for people, and I love it. However, I also really, really love my family, clearly. And so because I have felt this stirring and this pull to really, really be available for my children right now, I made sure that going into this fall, I didn't take on too many clients. And so what that has looked like is I have a handful of coaching clients that I adore. Let me go ahead and say that. They're just dream clients. They are not clients that I have to, drag around in their health and wellness. They're meeting me halfway. They want change. They handle their side of the street. They're accountable. They're just great. And I don't want to say they're easy to work with, because making change and working with people, it's heavy and it's a lot. And I have to make sure that I am awake and ready to go, and charts are updated, and I am so alert and energetically ready to hold space for them. However, the clients I have right now, I'm not going to lie, every single client on my roster are people I would keep for forever. So that being said, I have a handful of coaching clients, but I have not taken on a ton. I've cut my clientele, I would say, in half, if not more. The same with my yoga therapy clients. I have a handful, but they are definitely clients that are established, and clients that I know are just, they're in it. They want to make change. They're going to do their stuff. They're going to show up. They are not canceling. I just have really great clients right now. However, I don't have as many as I typically do. And the intention behind that was to make sure that I could serve my family really well and be so available to pursue them, but also to do the same for my clients. My fear was, a healthy fear, maybe not fear, my apprehension of opening up the same amount of slots for clients as I historically have, is my energy would be pulled in too many different directions, and I wouldn't be able to coach them and to be a yoga therapist the way that I want to and need to. So that has felt really, really good this season, just having a very, very intentional balance between running my home, which this summer, taking time off taught me that I really love that. I'd never been at home that much. I've always worked a ton. And so being home this summer showed me that I really like being here. I say here, I'm at my studio at my house. I really, really am enjoying this season. And because when Ori turned 13, it was like this countdown in my head started. There's an urgency of I only have this many more fall breaks. I only have this many more Christmases. I only have this many fall festivals at their school. And I want to be there for all of it. So definitely something in this season that I implemented that is working is just a very, very clear intention around home and work-life balance, and not letting the two of those bleed together. Winding up this season. So it's going to be November before you know it. November and December is the same thing to me. It's just finishing out the year, and it's holidays nonstop. It's, end of sports season. It's school programs. It's decorating for one season and then putting the Christmas tree up. Y'all know what's about to happen. It's about to be madness. And so things that are on the table, I guess, or on the horizon for Art and Yoga and Wellness are the following. So we're not doing any additions or changes the rest of the year. We are going to keep doing what we're doing, which is the podcast every week. We are going to continue to update and bulk up the membership. I'm going to continue to see all of my in-person yoga therapy clients that I adore. I'm going to continue to serve my coaching clients that I have. And then we're just gearing up behind the scenes for January. It's just the nature of the beast. January is always a busy time for me because it's the end of the holidays. People are typically burnt out because they've gone nonstop during the holidays. And it's a new year, which is very symbolic for new and new beginnings and changes and shifts and reflection. I love a good reflection. You know, what worked in 2023? What am I going to carry over to 2024? What didn't work? What am I hopeful about changing? And so behind the scenes of Art and Yoga Wellness, the things that you guys don't see is we're just gearing up, me and my team, for 2024. So some things that and we'll talk more about this, but some things that are going to be shifting, I don't want to say shifting, but maybe additions are next week, actually, Kate, my podcast producer, it's Kate and Philip. It's a husband and wife, and they are amazing. She is coming down, and we are setting up, we're going to bulk up my podcast studio at home. So my podcast studio, if you're watching, not that you can really see, but if you're looking, I'm in my studio, is it's on our farm, but it is in the upstairs of our barn. It's above my husband's office, and I have a workout area. We have kind of a lounge area. I have my desk. I have a yoga area, and I have a podcast mic, which is not working. If you're wondering why the sound is awful, I've been working on it for 3 weeks and I can't figure it out. So that being said, Kate is coming down next week, and we are going to get it set up to where we can have 2 people. So we can have guest interviews. We'll have just a little different setup. We're going to just bulk it up a little bit. This was kind of our baby setup, but now we're going to do it even bigger. And the reason for that is when I started the podcast, I always dreamed of having people at the farm. I love hosting. I love my setup out here. It's not that far from town. And I have so many colleagues and friends that live close to me. I mean, I have a lot that don't. It'd be great if we could get them here too. But like my friend Sonia lives in Canada. Dr. Wendy that was on the podcast lives in Rhode Island, maybe. It ain't close to me. So some of my friends are not down the road, but also so many of them are. I live outside of Nashville, and so many of my friends are close to me. And so I've always had this dream of obviously doing it on Zoom. It's convenient. We can make it work. Time zones don't necessarily interfere, because we can coordinate around that. But I really, really do want to have the option to where some of my brilliant and amazing friends that I want to have conversations with for you guys and with you guys, I want to be able to have them in person and have that experience with them. So that's going to be something that we can all look forward to in 2024 is more in-person podcast interviews with some of my people. Another thing is we're going to be making some really, really exciting tweaks to the membership. We've just been building that up and kind of rolling that out as a new service this past, I guess, few months. 6 months, I guess. So we're figuring out what's working well with that, what needs to be enhanced. And so we'll definitely be making some shifts in the next few months with the membership. Only good things. I'm going to be launching some new health coaching programs. We'll be announcing those in December for January. I'll be opening up new spots and new programs, which I'm very excited about. There's going to be a lot of options to work with me in the new year for all of your health and wellness goals, which is something that I live for. So we're working on the back end of that and just getting everything set up so it is seamless and flawless and a really, really great experience for you all when we hit the ground running in January. And as far as yoga goes, yoga is yoga therapy, meaning those clients. That is just something that I just don't have. It's so established. And honestly, my yoga clients stay with me for a long time. I have yoga clients that have been I have one client, she's been with me for 11 years. She has been doing yoga in person with me for 11 years. And so since that's a one-on-one hour time slot in person, I just don't have a lot of those. They're all filled. So that's something that is just going to continue to be what it is. But if for some reason I have availability, I'll definitely open up applications for that. But right now, yoga therapy slots are full. However, we do have the online therapeutic yoga library. And so that's something that I think in 2024, I'm going to add to that, but it's really robust and it's got a ton of videos. And they're not videos that once you do it, you don't do it again. It's literally stuff that you want to do daily. And so they're videos that you can shuffle through and recycle and reuse. But that is something that I'm going to look into. It's just a really long process because we have to set up the studio at home with all the sound and lights. And then my amazing videographer comes in and we do it. And then she has to edit. And so it's not like I just fling up a video like I do right here on YouTube. It's a way different undertaking. So we are going to be talking about that in 2024. It'll just probably be a little bit later in 2024. And then I'll be 37 next week. So when this comes out, I will be 37. And I think I'm going to do a podcast about aging, probably around that, but I'm not going to do it today because I've taken up a half hour of your time and you're probably over it by now. However, that is something I'm going to touch on. So I'm going to wrap up. This was, again, just a little update. I made some big declarations about my workout routine back in August, and I wanted to make sure that outside of a 1 minute or 30-second Instagram story, you guys know what's going on. And it can also be a prompt and a catalyst for questions if you guys need to know anything or you're curious about anything, or even if you want to see us add anything in January. If there's things throughout this episode where you're like, oh, that sounds good, Kira, but that's not what I want. I was hoping you would do this. Let us know because we want to support you. I and my team want to make sure that the podcast, the online services, the in-person things that I do, all of it is meaningful and it enhances your health and wellness in some way and it supports you. So definitely let us know if I didn't cover something. And with that being said, I have to run to a fall festival and volunteer, and I'm going to get off here, but I will catch you guys next week in the next episode. As always, thank you so much for following along and tuning in. I love my time with you guys, and I will see you very soon. Bye.